On a frozen planet called Niflheim, Mickey Barnes wakes up in a ditch, his suit and glass covered in ice. Disoriented, he realizes his communication system is down. Spotting someone nearby, he calls for help. Meanwhile, Timo emerges, surprised that Mickey is still alive. Instead of helping, he takes Mickey's weapon, dismissing its importance. He coldly tells Mickey the ship will reprint him again the next day, asks how it feels to die, and leaves, wishing him luck. At that moment, Mickey saw a terrifying monster approaching. It tried to swallow him, but he knew escape was impossible. Accepting his fate, he stood still, ready for what was to come. Mickey wakes up in a laboratory, surrounded by scientists. Some are joking around, while others work on his dead body, preparing to reprint him with advanced technology. As they restore his memory, one scientist accidentally unplugs a cable, but quickly reconnects it. The process continues unaffected. Mickey is outside the ship in a spacesuit as small asteroids pass by. His crew contacts him, asking if he feels dizzy, something he is already experiencing. The scientists did this on purpose for their research, expecting Mickey to describe his symptoms. Suddenly, an asteroid hits his hand, cutting it off and killing him. His severed hand drifts in space, but Mickey reappears inside the ship, only to face another problem. Then, the scientists attempt to re-upload Mickey and begin treating him. One of them encourages him, offering hope, but Mickey looks exhausted and is hallucinating. Mickey and his friend try to escape, but they are trapped by a group of men on both sides. Desperate, they keep running, only to fail. They are easily caught and taken away. Now they stand before Darius, tied up. Nearby, another man is being tortured. He begs for mercy, but the men ignore him, cutting him with a weapon. Noticing his expensive shoes, they take them without hesitation. Desperate to escape Earth, Mickey signs up for the Niflheim mission. He isn't alone. Many others gather at the port, eager to leave. Reporters interview some of them, and they express excitement, rallying behind Marshall, the mission's leader. Mickey fills out the application and is accepted almost immediately. The speed of his approval confuses him, but he soon realizes that his status as an expendable made the process effortless. A woman leads Mickey to the printer, a machine that can recreate a dead body in 20 hours, transfer memories, and make death a minor inconvenience. She hands him a suit and tells him to change. Then, Mickey steps into the printer, where his memories are uploaded into the machine, called Brick. In a flashback, Mickey is with his mother, when he unknowingly presses a red button, triggering a crash. Back in the present, he is crying. The woman hands him a gun and orders him to shoot himself, reminding him that this is the final requirement to become expendable, something he agreed to when he signed the application. But Mickey hesitates, unable to pull the trigger. Without hesitation, she takes the gun from him and fires. Afterward, inside of the spaceship, the crew gathers for a meal, each keeping to themselves and focusing on their food. But when Marshall enters, they immediately show their respect and appreciation. Mickey, however, is only interested in Nasha. He gets up and moves to her seat. She seems just as intrigued, laughing when he playfully takes her food. Marshall soon calls the crew together and lays down the rules that food will be strictly rationed until they reach their destination, and romance is strictly forbidden. However, Mickey and Nasha pay little attention to the second rule, secretly continuing their relationship throughout the journey and stealing moments away from the rest of the crew. Despite the rules, they find ways to be alone, sharing private time together throughout the journey. Mickey and Nasha grow even closer, sharing small, intimate moments. They playfully sketch stick figure versions of themselves on a tablet, laughing together as they add silly details. Mickey dies repeatedly, each time waking up in a freshly printed body. His reckless nature, along with his forbidden relationship with Nasha, constantly gets them both into trouble. Mickey believes he has found his soulmate in Nasha. For the first time, he appreciates being on the spaceship, feeling that, despite the dangers, he's exactly where he's meant to be. Later, while the crew is having a meal, Matthew approaches Mickey and asks what it feels like to die, knowing he has experienced it multiple times. Mickey feels awkward, unsure how to respond. Suddenly, Nasha steps in, pointing a gun at them, throwing the crew into chaos. Tensions rise, but the situation is quickly contained, and the ordeal ends with a brief stint in the ship's prison. Meanwhile, Kai approaches Mickey, seemingly wanting to talk. But before the conversation can go any further, Nasha suddenly steps in and kisses Mickey in front of her. The moment turns awkward, leaving Kai stunned and Mickey caught off guard. Afterward, The ship finally arrives at the frozen planet. As part of the initial test, Mickey is sent outside to analyze the atmosphere for potential threats. The results are immediate and grim. He unknowingly inhales a deadly airborne pathogen and collapses, dying soon after. Then, a new Mickey is printed, but he won't be the last. Versions 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 follow, each sacrificed in the desperate effort to develop a cure. After countless failures and repeated deaths, the team finally succeeds in creating a vaccine. Meanwhile, Kai and her crew venture deeper into the frozen world. As they explore a deep trench, they unexpectedly encounter an alien species lurking below. Suddenly, a baby alien leaps from the hole, attacking Kai. The crew fired their weapons and scrambled to escape. In the chaos, one crew member falls behind. The freezing ice engulfs him, and he dies before anyone can help. Marshall is furious because of the death of the crew member. He yells at Mickey, insisting that, as an expendable, he should have been the one to die. As punishment, Mickey is sentenced to grueling 14-hour shifts, his food rations cut in half, until he retrieves a sample of the creatures they encountered. Mickey 17 loses his balance and tumbles into a trench, the very moment seen in the film's opening. But this time, something is different. He wakes up, alive. Instead of attacking, the alien beings spare him. They help him climb out of the trench before silently vanishing into the icy wasteland. Confused, Mickey spots a vehicle nearby and climbs in. Once back on the ship, he changes his clothes, but no one seems to notice him. Still dazed, he returns to his quarters, washes his face, and prepares to sleep, only to realize he's not alone. Standing beside him is a fresh copy of himself, Mickey 18. Mickey 17 screams in shock, but Mickey 18 remains calm, unfazed by the situation. He simply watches, cool and collected, as if this were completely normal. Mickey 18 suddenly lunges, swinging a dumbbell with lethal intent. Mickey 17 tries to escape, but he isn't fast enough. Mickey 18 strikes him hard, sending him crashing to the ground. Back on Earth, the creators of the printing machine face intense scrutiny. Authorities demand assurances that safeguards exist to prevent its misuse, fearing the disastrous consequences of uncontrolled replication. Mickey recalls a chilling case involving one of the machine's original architects, a brilliant yet dangerous man named Manakova. When police raided Manakova's home, they made a horrifying discovery. Not one, but two identical versions of him. What they didn't realize was that a third Manakova was still at large, using the very technology he helped create to carry out a series of murders. Eventually, all three were captured, forcing lawmakers to act. In response, Marshall implemented a strict regulation. No duplicates were ever to exist at the same time. Back on the ship, Mickey 18 drags the unconscious body of Mickey 17 toward a trash chute, ready to dispose of him for good. But he doesn't realize Mickey 17 is already awake, silently observing and analyzing how his past iterations have evolved. As Mickey 18 moves to shove him into the ship's broiler, Mickey 17 suddenly springs to life. With a burst of adrenaline, he swings a dumbbell, desperate to turn the tables. But Mickey 18 is faster. He blocks the attack with ease, countering with brute force and pushing Mickey 17 closer to the roaring heat. Terrified, Mickey 17 tries to reason with Mickey 18, pleading for his life. But Mickey 18 isn't interested in negotiations. His grip tightens, ready to finish the job. Desperate, Mickey 17 begs. For a moment, Mickey 18 hesitates, cooling down just slightly. He glares and finally says that he doesn't like him. Mickey 17 argues that they're the same, but Mickey 18 rejects the idea, before making another move to kill him. Just then, footsteps approach. Mickey 18 quickly yanks Mickey 17 away from the edge, keeping up the illusion, and both make a side hide that nothing is wrong. It's Timo. He arrived discreetly, slipping drugs to another crew member. Mickey 18 notices and immediately confronts him, shoving him aggressively toward the broiler. Mickey 17 jumps in, trying to intervene and pull Timo back, but it's too late. The situation spirals out of control. Mickey 18 grabs a metal rod and turns on Timo, ready to force him into the flames as well. Before Mickey 18 could strike, Nasha and another crew member burst in, breaking up the fight just in time. Mickey 18 backs off, exchanging a glance with Nasha before slipping away with her into her quarters. Mickey 17 starts to follow, but a crew member pulls him aside with unexpected news that Marshall has invited him to a dinner. At the dinner, after weeks of starvation-level rations, Mickey 17 can't help but gorge himself, devouring every bite in front of him. Then, something shocking happens. Marshall apologizes for how he's treated him. But the evening takes a strange turn when Kai arrives. Marshall, shifting gears, begins praising her intelligence. Then, his real motive becomes clear. He wants her to become a baby machine to secure the colony's future. However, Kai is repulsed. She shuts him down at once, refusing to entertain the idea. To shift the focus, she proposes honoring the fallen soldiers and asks everyone to bow their heads in silence. As the crew falls silent, Mickey 17 suddenly starts convulsing, then vomits uncontrollably. Alarmed, Marshall immediately calls for the ship's scientists. They rush in and reveal the truth. They had secretly injected him with a growth hormone, hoping to help his body adapt, but the experiment has gone horribly wrong. Meanwhile, seeing his worsening condition, the crew gave him a painkiller. But instead of easing his suffering, it only makes things worse. The pain surges through his body, and Mickey 17 writhes, screaming in agony. Frustrated by the chaos, Marshall pulls out his gun, ready to put an end to it himself. But before he can fire, his wife stops him, not out of concern for Mickey, but because she doesn't want blood on her expensive carpet. Frustrated, Kai steps in and stops Marshall. She reminds everyone that Mickey is their guest but quickly apologizes for her outburst. Mickey 17, regaining a bit of strength, manages to stand with Kai's help. She supports him and leads him out of the room, taking him back to her quarters. There, Mickey 17 starts to feel better. He washes his face and changes his shirt. Kai offers him a cup of tea she secretly brought from Earth. As they talk, a quiet connection forms between them. Just as they're about to cross a line, Mickey hesitates. Nasha's image flashes through his mind. Then, he pulls away and leaves immediately. On his way out, Mickey 17 runs into Nasha, who bursts into laughter at the sight of him. Amused, she playfully scrawls 17 and 18 onto their arms, treating the absurdity of his existence as a joke. That's when Mickey 17 realizes she is high. Nasha tells him to relax, but Mickey 17, still shaken, insists that Mickey 18 just tried to kill him. Frustrated, Mickey 18 pushes him. Then, Nasha steps between them, smirking. She confidently assures them that she can make them both happy. Before either can react, she starts making out with them. Mickey 17 hesitates at first, caught off guard. But then, lost in the moment, he gives in. Just then, the door opens. Kai walks in. She freezes, her expression shifting as the reality of the scene sinks in. Both Mickeys standing side by side with Nasha between them. Kai quickly turns to leave, but Nasha blocks her path. Kai reminds her of the many rules she's breaking, but Nasha remains unfazed, open to negotiation. Meanwhile, Mickey 17 worries that Kai will report what she saw. Mickey 18, as always, doesn't take it seriously. His attention drifts when he sees Marshall speaking on the ship's television screen. Kai, in an attempt to regain control of the situation, makes a bold suggestion. Nasha can have Mickey 18, and she'll take Mickey 17. But Nasha isn't pleased. She smirks, shaking her head. In her mind, both Mickeys belong to her. Tensions rise. Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 begin arguing, their frustrations bubbling over. The argument quickly escalates. Mickey 18, his anger boiling, places the blame squarely on Marshall for everything they're going through. Blinded by rage, he grabs a gun and storms out to kill Marshall. On his way out, Mickey 18 shoves Nasha aside. Mickey 17 tries to stop him, but in the chaos, he loses his balance and tumbles down the stairs. Gasping, he looks up at Nasha and urgently tells her that Mickey 18 took the gun from her quarters. There's no time for more explanation. Mickey 17 pushes himself up and takes off, determined to stop Mickey 18 before it's too late. At that moment, Marshall is mid-speech, presenting a mysterious rock formation to the crew. Just as he's about to finish, he notices something. Movement inside the rock. It's an alien. On the other side of the room, Mickey 18 raises his gun, taking aim at Marshall. He steadies his hand, finger on the trigger, ready to fire. But before he can shoot, a crew member lunges at him, tackling him to the ground. Chaos erupts. Panic spreads like wildfire. The crew, already on edge, grows more disturbed. Even as Marshall tries to calm them, no one listens. His voice is drowned out by the mounting fear and confusion. As the ship descends into chaos, the crew scrambles to capture the alien creature. In the frenzy, Marshall locks eyes on Mickey 17 and, without hesitation, orders him to join the hunt. Amid the chaos, Mickey 18 seizes another chance to assassinate Marshall. He raises his gun, ready to fire. But before he can act, Marshall's eyes widen in shock. He finally notices the unthinkable. Two identical Mickeys stand before him. Mickey 18 pulls the trigger, but before the shot lands, Nasha leaps onto him, knocking him off balance and saving Marshall's life. Before anyone can react, a second alien bursts from the shattered rock and jumps into Marshall's face. Panic spreads instantly. Marshall doesn't hesitate and orders the crew to kill it. Gunfire erupts, tearing through the alien. Afterward, Marshall shifts his focus back to the duplicates. His expression darkens as the weight of the situation sinks in. Protocol has been shattered. Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 are arrested. Nasha is taken with them. Mickey 17 insists that the creatures weren't the enemy, revealing that they were the ones who saved him from the trench. Before he can explain further, Timo steps into the room, his face unreadable. Then he delivers the gut punch. He hands them food. As Mickey 17 reaches for it, Nasha pushes it away. Timo was sent by Darius with one job, to record Mickey's execution. Before he can carry out his orders, Mickey 18 and Nasha strike first. They launch into a brutal fight, overpowering Timo and his team in a desperate attempt to escape. But their freedom is short-lived. Security responds immediately, recapturing them within minutes. Their punishment is swift. Execution. As they are marched toward their fate, something brings them to a halt. Outside, the landscape has transformed. A massive gathering of native aliens now surrounds the ship, their presence silent yet overwhelming. Then, a crew member makes a chilling observation. The baby alien they captured hasn't stopped crying since they took it. Meanwhile, inside the ship, tensions escalate. Marshall's wife, indifferent to the chaos, takes the captured alien's tail, amputates it without hesitation, and begins preparing a soup from it. At that moment, Marshall arrives, stepping into the thickening tension. Determined to maintain control, he brands Mickey 18, marking him to distinguish him from Mickey 17. But he doesn't stop there. He takes it further, wiping Mickey's memories from the brick, erasing key parts of his past. Nasha steps forward, defiant. She argues that Mickey 18 was the first to spot the second creature, proving he isn't the enemy. But Marshall doesn't care. He silences her and shifts the focus, preparing for war. Nasha refuses to back down. She insists the aliens aren't looking for a fight, only reacting to the crew's aggression. A scientist steps in with a radical idea. Instead of war, they should take another approach. Communication could be the key. A translator might be the only way forward. Then, Marshall scoffs at the idea of communication, dismissing it as nonsense. But before he can finish, the captive creature humiliates him in front of the entire crew. His face twists with rage. Losing control, he turns on Nasha, lashing out in frustration. But she doesn't flinch. She shuts him down completely. Cornered, his authority slipping, Marshall makes a cruel, impulsive decision. He orders the creature to be tied up and thrown into the fire. As the alien falls toward certain death, Nasha reacts without thinking. In a desperate move, she lunges forward and catches it in her mouth, her last attempt to save it. Without Marshall knowing, a crew member has been secretly recording everything, capturing clear proof of his cruelty. But Marshall isn't finished. He pushes things even further. He orders his crew to release a deadly gas, aiming to wipe out the native creatures completely. His wife, as ruthless as ever, turns it into a sick game. Whoever collects 100 creature tails gets to live. The one who fails dies. Meanwhile, Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 are forced off the ship's ramp, tumbling into the frozen wasteland. But just before they vanish into the wilderness, a sympathetic scientist slips something into Mickey 17's hand, a prototype translator. It may be their only chance. Meanwhile, they finally reach the alien stronghold and stand before their leader. Using the translator, Mickey 17 thanks them for saving his life and delivers a grave warning. The humans are planning to release a deadly gas. The alien leader unexpectedly speaks Mickey's name. Confused, Mickey asks how he knows it. The alien simply replies that it is a secret. After a brief exchange, the leader has something more to say. His voice is calm, but the weight of his words is crushing. He demands to know why Zoko is killed. Mickey 18, always the skeptic, decides to push the limits. He coldly suggests what would happen if they killed more of the alien young. The leader's reaction is immediate and terrifying. He makes it clear that if another young life is taken, every human on the planet will be wiped out. To drive the warning deeper, he lets out a piercing, high-frequency scream, so powerful it could kill a human instantly. Mickey 17 understands the message they need to return the captured baby. The alien leader suddenly shouts. One by one, the other aliens follow, their voices merging into a deafening, unsettling chorus. Mickey 17 and Mickey 18 stand frozen, disturbed by the overwhelming sound. Mickey 17 turns to the Marshall team and gestures, trying to communicate. At first, the team is confused. But then, something clicks in Nasha's mind. She remembers a crucial detail from her time with Mickey 17. Marshall's advisor argues that Marshall, not Mickey 17, should be the one negotiating with the alien leader. Unwilling to relinquish control, Marshall agrees and decides to handle the situation himself. Before leaving, he places command in the hands of his ruthless wife. At the negotiation site, the alien leader delivers a grim ultimatum. One of the two Mickeys must die as retribution. Nasha acts without hesitation. She grabs Marshall's wife by the throat and demands the baby's return. When she finally releases her grip, Marshall's wife strikes back without mercy. She slashes Nasha's hand with a knife, drawing blood. In the struggle, the rope securing the infant comes loose. For a terrifying moment, the baby nearly falls. But Nasha reacts instantly. She catches the creature just in time and sprints away, holding it close as she makes her escape. As tensions reach their breaking point, both Marshall and the alien leader prepare for war. The battle is seconds away from erupting. Then, Nasha appears. She steps forward, holding out the infant as a peace offering. The alien leader, seeing his child return safely, signals his forces to stand down. The tide begins to turn, but not completely. One final issue remains. The aliens refuse to allow two identical humans to exist. Then, Mickey 18 makes the decision himself. Without hesitation, he steps forward and sacrifices himself. 6 months later, Mickey 17 reflects on how much has changed. The war never happened. Instead, humans and the alien species have started communicating, building an uneasy but hopeful peace. But the past refuses to let go. Haunting dreams torment him. Visions of Marshall and his wife, rising from the dead, watching, waiting. As the meeting ends, the crew gathers around him, expressing their gratitude for everything he has done.